Good morning. Another day. It's, I believe, Saturday, November 1st, which means last night should have been a really good Halloween for people. Friday night Halloween. I was in bed like by 8 p.m. And then I woke up a few hours ago. Wow. And when the sky looks like this, I think of the 70s Chevy van painted mural. Uh, I would venture to say it looks better to my eyes than it looks on the screen. I'm sure. I think after I move, I would like to get a camera, a better camera, and then I can stream different. I was just watching a reaction stream, and I don't really have the. God, it's gorgeous. I don't really have the ability to do a reaction stream because I would need my to be using my laptop, and at least from my cursory examination of OBS, I need a camera, not an iPhone. I mean, when I stream from the phone, I'm using the phone, not the laptop. So the Twitch app. I feel bad. Good morning. Welcome to. Uh, I I don't need to say it every day. No, I do need to say it every day. It's not a complaint. I mean, it is a complaint. It's also just information. Uh, I feel I need to say it because I think that there are, there's just normal people aren't aware that that it's possible to be in pain 24 hours a day. I'm sending this message to earlier me or later me. um, After the sunrise, I may go through some clothes on camera again. I may sort through some other things. As I prepare to move, I now have 1 month to get out. Okay, so I'm in my bedroom staring at a loaded closet right now. Okay, I've just realized from now on, so as recently as like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I vacated the apartment for the new buyers to bring a contractor in. I think all of the required walkthroughs have taken place. I mean, up until the final one. And I think I'm just going to, like, I can't, as bad as, my house does not look tidy. Nevertheless, before every one of these walkthroughs or visits or whatever, I take the limited energy that I have to clear space. And so I think I just this morning have made the decision that that's the last time. I mean, from now on, there's going to be stuff in the middle of the floor. I mean, I'm just going to leave things in whatever condition that it's in as I am going through the move. I have to, uh, know what I'm saying? I have to, I'll just say conserve energy. uh, I've been posting about and talking about. I mean, I've for a long time, I've been really interested in precise language. That's the end of that sentence. But one area specifically is that, oh, I just realized I can take this with me. Like I'm sitting in a room with no view when, I mean, the reason I live here is for what I'm showing you guys. So I'm coming. I'm coming. Why did I come in here in the first place? Oh, I know why, but oh, you know how sometimes everything requires 3 steps before you get to the thing? Well, that's where I am. And that's another reason for me to commit to no longer tidying up. It just makes it, I need to leave everything in the middle doing so that I can resume. Now, if I had, I'm not going to turn on light. Oh, God. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? So, there's some great apps that show you the sky, but uh, God, I could weep. I want to, I want to, well, forget it. I was about to say I want to stop and take a picture because it's higher quality than the Twitch video stream, but I've taken I just can't, I'm addicted to taking these photos, and wow, I'm going to share it on the Fediverse. Maybe I'll even share it on. God, I hate how blurry it is. I think it's just Twitch's low quality. I don't know. Your browser encountered an error. Okay. I'm your baby tonight. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Na-na-na-na-na-na. Na-na-na-na-na-na. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. One of the things I've been posting more on uh, Mastodon about my oh anyway, I think I was starting to say something about Venus the morning star. But anyway, I've been posting more in Mastodon because my well, there's a lot of things on my mind. One is that um, I'm not capable of producing at my best currently. Uh, Therefore, that's one of the reasons that the Fediverse is ideal for me. Again, I'm super sorry that the camera quality is not high enough. It's so fuzzy, and I don't know what I can do. It's only doing 720p, and I'll try if I go outside and there's no glass in between. It might help. I hold on. There's the city I'll be leaving soon. It's a mean, nasty Republican town. This is a really special morning. Wow. And then if you don't want to hear my babbling, just mute it and enjoy the view. Um, but I've been babbling, and then I tend to I'm working through thoughts and ideas, and then I tend to write about them during the day on Mastodon. The any work that is shared on a corporate site is basically being thrown away. But the stuff I share on the Fediverse, I can find again. So I think of it as mine. And I made a decision in the past this year that I never link anymore to, I mean, I rarely link to anything but the two addresses that I own. And currently, I'm streaming on Twitch, but it's embedded on humanism.org. And I would like to get better at my work, but I don't have the available spoons to do such things. So those are long-term goals for after I've moved. I just felt sad because for a brief moment after I shared it on the Fediverse, Twitch told me I had 3 viewers, and now it's gone back to telling me I have 1, which usually means 0. 1 means none. So then, but truly, I can only be mad at myself because among the ideas that I share, uh, I'm training myself, and um, a statement that I made yesterday, I think that I'm proud of, is that whether or not anyone consumes my content is not my department, and it's pretty important to me. I mean, if I could, I would disable my ability to know. I would I'm only interested in, like, if you want to engage with me, then that's a possibility, but I prefer not to engage on Twitch. So somewhere down the line, I might have an own cast. And so let's say that happens. Let's say I move and I get a camera, and um, I start doing work in a way that um, I was about to say happier with, but I'm not unhappy with what I'm doing. Well, I think when people say happy, a lot of times they mean satisfied. And I have, there's so much that I wish I could be doing. That is interesting that the expression happy with is substituted for satisfied. And also think of the positive and the negative aspects of satisfied. So I could say I'm not satisfied with my work product, whatever, output. The negative way of interpreting that is to say, I'm giving myself a failing grade, I'm not satisfactory, I'm failing, I'm not meeting uh, the standards that I would like to see. Uh, and so for me, I try to avoid negative framing because I find them to be uh, destructive. The very same, to put a positive spin on I'm not satisfied simply means that I want more. I have aspirations. Aspire is a word I use a lot. Um, among my dream projects, I think possibly the easiest one the one that I could put out most quickly might be my positive dictionary because doing that is part of the treatment process to improve my functionality. So then, after, having done so, perhaps I would find it easier. And again, that's kind of a bad word choice, but maybe, um, uh, but basically, by um, increasing words are loaded. I was just about to say like something about therapeutic language or efficacy. Um, terms are used, terms aren't just, I mean, they're used in contexts, and then those contexts have associations. And um, but to try to put it simply, I am working to treat myself, to improve myself. I am handling my own mental health care and spiritual health. And so I think a byproduct of the positive dictionary could be self improvement. That's all I'm trying to say. So, and I love words so much, and I just think it would be because my other dream projects have to do with uh, white history or whites, just white people problems. The project I call White People Problems, which is just huge. And then my happy dream project, aspiration, hope. I love these words: hope, aspire, dream. Uh, but is a story, novel, or series of stories, I don't know, about a better world and getting from here to there. And I think that is going to be really difficult. Not the least of which because I'm not a storyteller. I was just watching the YouTube channel of Armistead. I don't know whether to say Maupin or Maupin. I think as an American I've learned he grew up in Charleston. I think I've heard people pronounce his last name Maupin, but it's spelled Maupin if you know French. um, Armistead, Maupin. Look for him on YouTube if you think that following a queer author who's 81 is would be interesting to you. I think it's cute. He does these short little. I mean, they're not. Well, actually, they're not all short. I saved. There's an hour-long interview with someone who's in UK politics, um, and they've known each other something like 40 years, and it begins with the politician saying, "Hello, darling." So cute, like they're friends with Magneto. Wait. Ian McKellen. Gandalf. Um, I'm not a celebrity worshiper, but something that I had watched today led that to be suggested to me. And I thought that as someone who doesn't have enough positive elders, role models in my life, I thought uh, I watched I watched it and felt warm fuzzy a little bit. So I started following him. Having said that, oh yeah, this is why I brought it up. I have not read the books or watched the series. I watched some of the series. I like Olympia Dukakis. Apparently, I'm thinking if I'm making sense of what I heard this morning, I'm thinking that her character in the books is actually trans. So that makes Olympia Dukakis not a good actor to play that part, but um, nevertheless, uh, that uh, was written, I think, in the 70s and appeared on PBS in the 70s. So, was created for PBS in the 70s. So, what you gonna do? But in one of his uh, I watched maybe 2.5 videos, and in one moment, he said he was like a born storyteller, always telling stories, blah 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 blah. And as someone, so I have this concept that I want to write or communicate, convey, but I do not consider myself a storyteller. So it's going to be really difficult. And I think it could be easier for me to be a inspirational lexicographer. Try that first. Uh, to be totally honest, I would enjoy possibly working with one or multiple collaborators in which I just discuss my story concepts and someone else could possibly uh, come up with the plots within that universe. I don't think that is a typical way of working, but as long as I'm dreaming, um, the idea of me writing a novel is just as far fetched as the idea of me having a collaborative experience to produce a series of stories. It's a cute little boat tooting along. I am assuming that they're checking crab traps. There are crabs in this river. My grandparents lived on the river and had a dock with a crab trap hanging off of it when I was a kid, and I can remember pulling it up and seeing crabs crawling inside it. I don't know if they ever ate the crabs that they caught in their traps. I I spent a lot of time at my grandparents, but I don't. Um, I was a prissy suburban American who, would have turned up my nose at food that didn't come in styrofoam. I know it's disgusting, but um, I'm a TV child, and all of the prejudices that TV and advertising taught were my first values, which is another reason that, well, one, it's so difficult to get healthy, and another reason that I'm proud of my transformation. I thought about writing a political post. Saw an interview, I don't know, another YouTube channel is this, I've had it, two blonde white ladies in Oklahoma. Um, they're usually summarized as like wine moms have had it, with neoliberalism and whatever. Uh, I mean, look them up if you're curious. I don't watch them regularly for various reasons, but I am not anti them. Uh, but one of them spoke of her political journey, and voted for, had voted for Democrats, and also admitted to voting for W. Bush at least once, and I appreciated her sharing her story. And it was an interview with it was the one interview that I've seen off of the main channel, with the less talkative of the pair, and she was being interviewed by a black woman podcaster. I don't know. Um, when it comes, this is the thing about YouTube. Stuff gets served up. All I remember is it was on YouTube. I don't remember the names of the people I'm watching. Uh, I mean, I guess that's my fault, but it's also the design of the system. I might as well veer off. This is a stream of consciousness ramble, sort of. Uh, what might a better system look like? So, I believe that uh, community progress is not really possible when the community gathering is corporately owned. The sites, the media for community building are corporately controlled. Therefore, they're more anti community than pro. Oh, I just realized I'm missing a piece of furniture that was given away. This is what happens when you're moving. um, so what might a better oh, I think yesterday I said I was going to explain the Fediverse and I never got around to it. So one explanation of the Fediverse is that it's the rebirth of the internet. It's decentralized, so um, there's much more of a sense of ownership and control over our own posts and our own associations. So if I mean, I'm not running my own server, but I could. And I could run my own and still connect to all the same people that I currently connect to. Um, so what the corporations have done, what they've created is what's unnatural. These private silos on a publicly funded, interconnected system make no sense. So it's like the network of roads in my town, my state, anyone, anywhere. The number of places that you can get to on the road network are, nearly infinite. I mean, they are enormous. It is not the case in the physical world that the majority of territory is gated, but it is the case online. When the publicly developed internet was handed over to corporations, it was spoken about, it was debated about in the 90s, and it was deemed natural, normal to let independent enterprises flourish, that it was unnatural, in the capitalist US mindset for there to be central control. But what those capitalist entities did was build gated communities. And so it's the analogy to the roads, I feel like is pretty good because it would be just as unnatural. Like if I couldn't go downtown to my own city without entering and paying a toll to a private enterprise. That's not the world that I live in. I can cross state borders. I could cross national borders. I would have to go through a check and I might have to be searched. So that's something to consider. Hmm, I can only travel freely in my own country, and to get to the other countries, I have to submit to invasions of privacy. And that is akin to the private, the non-public, non-free control of the internet. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling, but to get it back to the Fediverse is more true to the original idea of the internet as being a network of connections. You may or may not remember when Facebook was first developed, there um, were ways that you could use their like messaging service to talk to people outside of Facebook. So these technologies exist and are possible, but it's only as corporations, that was when they were fishing, hoping for, to attract new members. Once they reach the threshold that everyone in the world is on it, then it's to their benefit to sever those ties, those connections. So now, in order to communicate within Facebook, I have to submit to being on Facebook and giving them all my information that they do not guard. I'm no longer able to be on Facebook because my account was hacked and like it just was a mess and taken away from me, and I didn't uh, reacquire it. I didn't see it being worth it. But that's unfortunate as I'm moving out because I'm cut off from the ability to reach people, offer things for sale, all of the things that like I can't interact with my community online because unless I choose to go to and play by the rules of the private site where most of my community chooses to be. That's not natural. I mean, well, or at least it's antisocial. So, what I would like to do if I dream of a future would be to, well, let's see, start with the top tier dream would be to have all my content on my own sites and have it be federated through Owncast video, um, and Mastodon for text and photos. Or there's another one called GoToSocial. So when you're on it, you don't have to know what all these things are. You can subscribe. I mean, the way that you find things, there's no algorithm, is you follow a lot of people and then they share things and you see, oh, I like this. And you might end up following someone who's on a different service. And unless you do, investigate, you don't know. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, the way that you might notice is like, oh, this is a longer video than I'm able to share, or this is a longer, post of text than I'm able to share. And that's the way that you know that they're on a different service. But other than that, you just see things. So what I'm saying is like an ideal. We think YouTube is just what else are you going to do? How else are you going to find things? Who's going to host all the the resource heavy uh, you know, videos, data. There are other ways to do it. And that is happening on the things that are called the Fediverse. There was always another way to do it. And in terms of if the options were, central governmental control and corporate, yeah, I can understand why the US went corporate. But there is no reason that regulations could not have been written that demanded the internet remain free. I mean, net neutrality is sort of the least of it, and the right wing cannot stand that. But there are other extensions of that. If you look into some of the information policies in Europe, they're ahead of us by far. And anyway, there's just it's kind of like when the airwaves are given away to corporate control. There could have been other alternatives, but most government decisions favor the rich. So that's what happened. Just as an example about airwaves, um, I can remember there used to be debates over like pirate radio, low watt radio transmissions. There's public access TV. There are always choices, and our society makes continually makes choices that puts power in that consolidates power in the fewest hands. But with slight changes, or maybe big changes, but like you just make a few changes, allocate resources differently, and you have a completely different concept of free speech and community building. Here comes the sun. Do 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 do. So my unrealistic fantasy would be, oh, I just found a guide to Guadalupe. Oh my goodness. This isn't the Guadalupe in Mexico. This is Spain. Muy interesante. Madrid. Um, my family used to be super Catholic, but my priest uncle is more of a follower of Trump and Sean Hannity than uh, the Pope these days. Check out the most recent, or I think the first major pronouncement by this Pope concerns treating the poor better. It's difficult for me to praise the Pope because I'm not a follower of hierarchy, but for those who are, I would rather at the top of a patriarchy to be spouting positive values than negative ones. Take a short break. I'll be right back. A real side quest while I was taking a break from talking, I was thinking about patriarchy. and how the one of the reasons for breaking away from the Catholic Church was a denial of the hierarchy of the papacy in Rome. And like that seems reasonable and positive, but the religion itself has patriarchy built in, and so the elimination of the link to Rome doesn't seem to have been followed, by independence or greater equality, but like in England, it's just replacing the monarch as the head. How is that a trade up? Um, I mean, defending the Catholic Church is a fool's game. But I do remember when I was a member of that church, I liked the international community aspect of it. And it does open each individual believer to the concept of being part of a multicultural community. And I even believe that it is related to why liberalism is more successful in Latin America and Spain and France than the U.S. But then how do you explain Italy itself? Not sure. Nothing simple. But in place of the Catholic Church, bishop and pope, patriarchy, it seems that most Protestant Christians still crave patriarchy. They just have, they seek it out in more places. It's like a multi-headed hydra, where they got their Billy Grahams and their Jim Falwells and their Pat Robertsons and their Donald Trumps and their Fox Newses and their W. Bushes but most always a man, most always an authoritarian hierarchy. In that sense, the institution of the Catholic Church, with its nuns and community orders, and there's a little bit more space within it for diversity, weirdly. But I don't know what it's like to be a Protestant, and American Catholics are like the ground zero of problematic beliefs in the United States. So, beep bop boop, except for the current Pope, apparently. So I was going to sort through this, but unfortunately, looking at it, I realized that this is one of those, just about everything in here is important, boxes, and I don't have the mental capacity to consider them. Oh, I know what I'm doing. What I'm actually doing, which I hate it, but I'm doing it, is I'm making boxes of things that I'm just keeping without fully examining. Just all the things that are like, I think I want this. The goal being if I can keep that collection small enough to fit in my car or my car plus the storage unit that is nearby, then that would be good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is separate out now, and later now. Now and soon. This box is all things to keep. I will. No, I'm gonna call it now. I'm gonna put it all in here, and if I don't get to them, then it will be just it'll turn into soon. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna trust past me that I'm just moving it to a box with a lid, basically. I don't have to expend mental energy on that now. It's more later now. Um, okay, I can turn against that. I rejected one thing because it was easy. Now, or later now. Here comes the sun. Doo 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 doo. So one of the problems is that I don't want to make these things too heavy. And yet, and yet, putting books and papers in a box this size will result in something too heavy. Okay, now I'm hot. Time to switch to shorts. I've turned down the, yeah. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Oh, I have clothes in the dryer. If I was a rich man, daddle deedle deedle daddle doodle deedle daddle doo. I almost came back out there. No, I'll change first, then I'll come back out there. I've joked before about the future in which I uh, have a like an OnlyFans, and it's not sexual per se. It's just absent-minded in its modesty. Because one of the things, if I were making a pitch trying to sell what I do. I sometimes say that this is one of the few actual reality shows. I'm doing such tiny things, but it helps. It feels, well, it just helps. Hmm. I need my inside sunglasses. Yeah, but what you're doing now is you're turning it from a I might get to it to I know I won't get to it because I'm packing things on top of it that, yeah, okay. So that's good to know. It is still worth having the soon and later categorizations. So, but maybe not the now and soon. Do you know what you mean? Well, it just comes down to having space for stuff. It would be if you had a tray that you could pull out. Yikes. Why are you saving this? Oh, that's why. Um, Sunglasses. Well, I think I want to let the outside air in. Oh, I guess I could check to see if anyone's messaged me. When I describe my current content as not good or not satisfactory, it's not really what I want to say, is it? It's more like it's not focused because my current focus is getting out of here alive, and I'm not able to. Yeah, I mean it's taking up the super majority of my focus. I just want to read something. I get too many appeals for political donations to Democratic candidates from all over the U.S. that I have no relationship with because of my data being sold and making a donation many years ago, one or two donations many years ago, or something, for some reason. And they always, tell you stop, but it doesn't stop the spread. Like every new number, every new campaign, it just. Anyway, I wrote stopped because it said stop to quit, and I did not get the typical reply saying, informing myself that I had been unsubscribed. It doesn't matter anyway because I'm going to continue to get garbage. But um, I just decided to write this. If it, somehow, sometimes I wonder how after understop, which like I wrote stop at 15:48:28 yesterday. Later, at 15:57:06, I noticed that they had not issued the automatic unsubscribe response. And I suppose I was going through some aggravation, so I wrote this. Sometimes I wonder how many people have turned against the Democratic Party because of the nauseating nonstop fundraising requests. No matter how many I request to stop, they keep coming from new numbers. I will never give you anything, not because I know anything about you, but because I'm beyond broke. And I'm sick to death of this system. I just want to stop getting these messages. They cause me stress and social alienation. I would sue if I could. If anyone actually reads this, please advocate an overhaul of this system. Some of us are being turned off from participating. It feels corrupt. Is it the mothership group? Look that up. I don't know. Just rethink your strategies, please. And, is that useful? But sometimes it comes from individual volunteers, and so it could reach a human being. Or maybe it always comes from individual volunteers. I don't know. I don't know. I expect to be possibly chewed out by somebody, but that would be at least positive. I don't like uh, arguing on the internet with the people who have no values, who are most of the people arguing on the internet. I don't see a point in um, conservative and liberal dialogues at all currently because the conservative status uh, quo and strategy and goal is to eliminate us. So you can't really have a discussion on those terms. Um, in a functioning democracy, someone who refuses to abide by the uh, fair results of the electoral process would not be permitted to take advantage of it. To succeed within it. There's no logic to that. There's a there's an Onion headline that said ACLU defends KKK's rights to burn down ACLU offices. Um, it's an exaggeration, but I think you get the idea. So now I want to fold, but I don't have a flat surface. I will use my bed. Alabama's got me so upset. Tennessee makes me lose my rest. And everybody knows about Mississippi, goddamn. That's the state that will be my next. Anyway, Yeah. I see you, low battery. Necesito. Hmm. What's a charging cord called? Cordera or something? Probably not. Oh, something that was broken yesterday is I've just fixed by jiggling it. So I will not keep that in the move. I'll toss that. This, I can't remember. It's been too long. I can't remember if that's clean or dirty in that laundry bag. Uh, the fact that I am asking makes me think it's clean, because otherwise a laundry bag would have dirty clothes in it. So I have this sort of lingering mental note that I put clean clothes in that laundry bag for some reason. Clothes. You are now charging. Tired. Somebody say a prayer. Para bayar abamba. I don't want to sing that. What do I want to sing? I want to take my shoes off. I have opinions about shoes. Fuck. So this, oh, A button came undone, but not the important button. So I guess who cares? Or is it an indication that, I mean, everything's poorly made. Am I right? So if I write a book about um, an improved society, so one thing that comes up in Solar Punk, Monk and Robot, uh, degrowth, just imagining a sustainable future, they often take place in strong, interdependent communities So, like Murderbot, like there's a line about how they make their own clothes and they seek consensus for decisions. And then there are characters like Garathan and the Murderbot who do not feel comfortable with enforced socializing. And that's something uh, that needs to be addressed and maybe, a current barrier to saving uh, humanity because I, for one, have uh, zero experience and ability um, functioning in a community. I only know individualism and hiding and cutting ties with monsters and such. Um, and even though I just said earlier, there's no point in debating conservatives. I mean, I think that's true when they're attacking my right to exist. But the fact remains that politicians, well, I was going to say a path forward has to include a good portion of the people that we currently disagree with. And I think that's uh, a huge challenge and a flaw in uh, current strategies. Like somebody like Zoran Mandami, I haven't heard him going negative very much, except for against Cuomo, his opponent who has no integrity. So that's proper. But like he began his campaign by interviewing New York voters who switched from Biden to Trump to find out what were you looking for instead of saying, which is, something that we probably all want to say, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're hurting yourself and everyone else with this choice. And I think that that's why Mamdani is so good at what he does. It's also just an indication of the fact that we all have different roles, and my role is not to be a politician. I'm not capable of socializing. I mean, I stopped watching. I don't love him, but I am enthusiastic about Mamdani, but I've stopped watching interviews with him because it's like I get bored seeing him have to say the same things over and over and over again. So, that interview is not for me. Those interviews when he goes to a different audience is for members of that content producer's audience who haven't, who may not be comfortable with him yet. I I know like it can feel comfortable to spend time consuming reaffirming content, but also I get bored. I like to learn. And so if all I'm watching is stuff I already know or believe in just coming out of different mouths or at different volumes of ranting, I don't find that to be healthy for me. And by the way, that screed I read against Democratic fundraising, at no point, I mean, I said I was trying to get their attention by saying turned against or turned off from the system or whatever. But I will always vote for even a sorry Democrat over a fascist. But some Democrats are fasci. And in those cases, they still have to be voted for because they're going to empower the ability, the possibility of a democratic future, as opposed to the speedy dismantling of it. But I, you know, kind of think it's already too late, and it's one of the reasons that I lose patience with what's her name? Cox Richardson, Heather, maybe Heather Cox Richardson. And before that, someone I enjoyed following on the Fediverse, whose name I won't remember because I haven't seen them post in a long time, which is telling. I don't think I've unfollowed them. Maybe they blocked me. I don't think I've said anything negative against them. Maybe I have. But a historian's view can be very calm and system preserving and not hair on fire revolutionary at the same time. Oh, but I think they're serving such an important purpose to reach people who are maybe former conservatives or centrists who are becoming activated. All of that is useful, but I don't need it. It's just frustrating for me. But so are the people who are hair on fire because, just anyone who's not offering solutions is disappointing. And yeah, this is clean, so I think I'll fluff it. Uh, I do think Heather Cox Richardson may be slowly offering, she does offer some solutions. And her audience is the one that needs to be activated. So I'm not against her. I just don't think it's for me. I can't think of the person who she had a last name that was easy for me to misspell, like it ended in field or feld, and I was like, which is it? I don't know, but she was very, very stay the course in the Biden administration, and you know, and Merrick Garland is doing everything right, kind of thing. And obviously, in retrospect, no. Um, the hair on fire people should have had a lot more influence in the Biden administration. But with the Supreme Court, it's baked in. Our system, it's already too late. Like it's been too late since 1789 or whatever, or 1619. I was watching a video by a Mexican president. I just subscribed to her channel, Claudia Sheinbaum, and um, she's praising. Okay, so she's praising. Well, it's in Spanish, so I don't have great comprehension, but I'm consuming Spanish language text with and without subtitles. So in this case, I didn't bother to try to see if there were subtitles. But I still tried to follow along. And she's describing, I don't know. So look up whatever today is, October 30th in Mexico. She was praising the historical journey, the path of Black women in Mexico. And and I was thinking about how one of the ways, that the left is competent and more primed for success in Latin America is that when Latin American countries revolted against Spain, against their colonizers, whatever they, whichever countries they were, usually Spain, France also, uh, the Cinco de Mayo was a battle against the French. But anyway, in Puebla, which is where I think I want to live, even though I worry about the climate. It's like slightly too cold for me, possibly. But anyway, so President Claudia Sheinbaum can speak about the history of Black women's struggle in Mexico, and at least to my ears, it's more authentic, more valid, because of the policy priorities of Scheinbaum's government. Now, I don't know enough about Mexican politics, so I should just shut up. But I'm happier with where they are than where we are, and I'm happier with um, the direction they're going, and I feel more comfortable with um, their history. That the revolution was on the side of the people, versus in the U.S. it was a transfer of management from one aristocracy to another, like the colonial off-site management to homegrown oligarchs. So it's always been that way in the US, and from what little I know of Mexican history, it was not the same there. And so, even though, like, all I saw was this few-minute long video, like a presidential proclamation type of thing, although it was well done, it had visuals, I mean, better than anything Biden ever put out. But Biden um, paid lip service to. I mean, most presidents, even the. I mean, here's the thing: like even the Republican ones, at times used to pay lip service to liberal values, and it was always like, why are they supporting? Why are they praising Martin Luther King? That kind of thing. When they're not on board. Uh, and I don't know Scheinbaum's history, and I'm sure she's wealthy and privileged, and I'm sure she has corruption, as all power does. But it I think it's a lot. I'm just saying it feels like less cognitive dissonance for the leader of a left party that's doing left things to speak out in favor of civil rights heroes kind of thing, versus when a member of a centrist party that's prolonging mass suffering does the same. But like I say, uh, I'm sure that there are lots of problems in Mexican politics, but I like a lot of what I've seen. Nevertheless, I think there's a inherent contradiction in the U.S. I mean that we're founded on a statement that all men are created equal when that was not meant, when that was not remotely what they had in mind. So we're founded on bluster, marketing lies, and it continues to this day, and it's just a big problem. And I think that there are a lot of other countries in the world that do not have the exact same problem that we do. Um, I've I've never, well, I shouldn't say never. I've changed, but I mean, I remember from a young age when kindergarten would we did these. Uh, I almost said cowboy and Indians, Pilgrim and Indian Thanksgiving reenactment BS. I just I don't know any kid who wouldn't be on the side of the Indians. But then again, I didn't ask them. Obviously, there were a lot who weren't, um, including, say, Stephen Miller. Okay, this is a 1 gigabyte USB drive. Okay, so maybe not worth holding on to. This other one I found is a 6 gigabyte empty USB drive that I put tape on because it's old enough that the rubberized plastic that it's encased in is sticky and gross, as is that one over there. But like 6 gigs may be worth putting up with. 1 gig, maybe not. Also, that ostensibly belongs to someone else, and I'm wrangling with whether or not I'm going to return a few things that belong to a very old man in this building, or whether I just want to make it go away and disappear. The the old man seems to have mental degradation and hasn't seemed to recognize me the last few times we've bumped into each other. And I just don't see how giving him some things that they gave me to hold on to years ago would be anything but a burden. But maybe I mean, it's not really for me to decide. I don't know. I mean, it is for me to decide because it's in my house. So I think I'm going to try to find uh, a fellow neighbor who might be friends with them or know them better and leave it up to them. Or just take the cowardly way out and disappear and hide. And do these fit? My brain tells me no. Oh, I'm just doing fluffing. I'm sure that's plenty of heat. Yep, very clean, yummy smelling. That's for later. Thanks for joining me while I do some of my chores to get out of here. Um, I was talking about dreams or ideal, whatever, alternatives of content creation, ideal scenarios. Uh, by the way, I've said it before, I don't recommend snow sheets. It was soft and it also fell apart faster than any other sheets I've ever owned. Some people play fantasy sports, fantasy football. I'm going to play fantasy content creation. So my one fantasy would be I continue operating as I do, and I have a person who has different skills than I do, and they edit or make clips out of my raw material. That would be um, great. And I would, and if such a person existed, then uh, I would let them handle anything that's shared on the mainstream platforms. But I would also, um, so this is tight, but not too tight. So what the heck? I'll keep it. But anyway, moving forward, what's more likely is not to have an employee or volunteer, but I'll have to do everything myself. In which case, I would produce my content on sites that aren't evil and clip. No, wait. Maybe, sometimes produce. Hmm, well, I mean, one option is share clips onto the evil sites where more people are, but always promote my preferred. Please join me here for a lot more. Knowing, people won't do it, but I mean, so do I really want to put myself in that circumstance repeatedly where I'm just disappointed? I say it's not my department what other people do, whether or not I have an audience. I believe that. It's not my department. It's not my focus. It's not my business. Oh shit. Whoops. I did something hastily and made a mess. Um, I'm a little confused right now. I think I have a separate What was I saying? Oh, yeah. What am I saying? Is it possible to only post where I like? I think it is. And I can have interactions, real interactions with decent people and grow an audience that way. Yeah, I think so. I know, crazy. Title this one Fat Man in His Underwear. Okay. Um, okay, but what do I do about the fact that, I mean, am I going to delete all my accounts on fascist media? I mean, God, I would love that. But then I would lose all connections to my fascist friends. No, they think they're liberals. They just don't have the, uh, I'll say, spoons to try new things right now. They they need their medication that they get on mainstream media. And I do too. I watch my choice is YouTube. I don't watch Instagram, but it's not as though YouTube is moral and Instagram is not. So um, it's important for me to not criticize the actions of others. That's not valuable. But at the same time, like I'm not on Snap, I'm not on TikTok because when the idea even occurs to me, I think, oh, why start something new? Why start a new relationship with evil when, I have had it up to here with those? And even if I had like the money to have an employee, I would not want to have a I would not want my work to go towards building an audience. I would not want to work towards building an audience on capitalist platforms. The only purpose I see in using capitalist platforms is to reach the people I already know and to try to talk them into joining me here or elsewhere, knowing that they're not going to. Well, let's be more optimistic. Let's be less fatalistic. Let's be less, what do I think? I'm psychic? I don't know the future, so, and I do think one or two people might check out what I post, and they don't have to join and use the sites I use. They can follow, they can just look at my stuff if they want, sometimes. Why does it smell like a match in here? I didn't burn anything here in here since yesterday. Interesting that it lingers, I guess. I don't know. Maybe there's a candle wick in there. Hmm. Or did I move the Palo Santo into here? This is not the first time that it smelled like burning in there. Maybe it's the people below me. Or maybe it's an electrical problem. I'm moving. Yesterday I had a few drops in a cologne that's like 20 years old and it still smelled good. And I can only, I mean, knowing me, I saved them because it was sentimental. It was a cologne I bought to help me get over a breakup. Uh, Gucci, I forget the name of it. It smelled sort of soft and powdery. Trenton Hoshiko, filmmaker, favorited your post. Post Happy Halloween and my annual recommendation to watch Over the Garden Wall if you enjoy sweet animation. It's so cozy. I searched for a for an image. Speaking of ideal futures, I would like to never use Google search, which I don't know. I'm using DuckDuckGo, which probably connects to the Google, I don't know what, but I don't have any AI, and I don't feel like I'm using Google, and I would like to learn if it's possible to have a setting to never return Pinterest or Etsy results. I could do that right now. I doubt that there is. I mean, they can, with a click, I can exclude porn, but I can't exclude slop. Search. Default search engine, DuckDuckGo. So that's the browser. Maybe I have to go to DuckDuckGo itself, where I'm probably not logged in. But I'll try settings anyway. Region, all regions, browser preferred language, display language, safe search off, instant answers on, hide AI generated images on. Oh, okay. That's good. Infinite scroll. I don't know what my opinion is on that. Autocomplete suggestions. Yeah, okay. Advertisements. Off. Keyboard shortcuts. Okay. Sites you block will be hidden from all your search results. You can find the option to block a site in the dot 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 menu in the corner of each search result. Well, that's not. eh, eh. All right. So let's replay last night's over the garden wall, and I specifically wanted what's the harvest Pottsfield dot 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 menu. I really don't like fandom. All right, let's go to images. Pinterest. Okay, here we go. Oh, on that, my option, the dot 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 gives me the options: flag, image, or report inappropriate. All right, let's go back to all. Do I want to block fandom? Let's just click on fandom. They kind of took over. All right, it didn't hurt me to be on it for. I just know sometimes I don't like fandom. I mean, I'd rather fan sites be independently. Unshavedmouse.com. Hard Times at the Huskin Bee. Neil Sharpson, author Until They Make Me Stop. What happened? Summary. In silky, menacing tones, Enoch tells them that he must punish them for their transgressions and sentences them to a few hours community service. The frog's name is Wirt Jr. The frog's name is the frog has been renamed George Washington, which is appropriate as he doesn't have any teeth. The frog's name is Jason Funderburger. Cute blog, most recent post this month. Bats versus Bolts. Dracula and Frankenstein. It's cute. This person has a functioning blog, unshavedmouse.com. The long-awaited audiobook for Knock Knock Open Wide is available in North America from Tantor Media, narrated by the wonderful Aoife McMahon. Second, The Burial Tide was just nominated as one of the New York Library's top 20 horror books. Don't Trust Fish is the #1 best kids book of the year, according to Indigo Books of Canada. Let's look up the name Oify. Aoife is an Irish and Gaelic feminine given name. Oh, let's see. Is there a button I can click to say it on Wikipedia? Evidently not. Thought there was. Baby Names of Ireland. How to pronounce YouTube video. Why aren't you talking? What's wrong? Playing a video and no sounds coming out. Are you connected to these headphones? No. Alright, now to troubleshoot. All you had to do was not have it be a YouTube video. Oh well, I don't need to know this. But it looks like Aoife. Finally, an audio. No, I do not want to be prompted to sign into Google. I've asked them never to prompt that, and they do it anyway. Something is wrong with my... Why are my speakers not... Let's try the music app. Oh yeah. I don't have the hard disk connected with my music library. Surely I have some sound file on this pooter. QuickTime, open recent, screen recording. No sound. What's happened to the sound? I turned off Bluetooth, so it's not connected to this. Maybe I just need to restart. Where are some places besides YouTube I can go to find sound on the internet? Why don't I know this? I'll just go to Mastodon. Has audio. Nope, no sound. So it might be the browser? Let's quit the browser. Oh no, because I tried QuickTime. Restart. Riveting, I know. It's good for me to take rests. In fact, I'm going to take these off. How is that? Do I really want to go back and try to figure out how to pronounce pizza?
Got to go. It's sensible. It's sensible. The endless seasons go on and on. Incredible. Better get out. Remember where we were last year. You said everything about moving your career. If you want to go, I'll take you back one day. 'Cause this is in Paris, and this is in London. It's not Berlin, it's not Hong Kong, not Tokyo. If you want to go, I'll take you back one day. It feels so good. Ain't that right? It feels so good. Ain't that right? You may have the body, do you have the song? Let's make this happen, let's make this happen. The endless beaches go on and on. it's magical. Consider it out. Remember where we were last year. You said everything about moving your career. You said if you want to go, I'll take you back one day. 'Cause this is in Paris and this is in London. It's not Berlin, it's not Hong Kong, not Tokyo. If you want to go, I'll take you back one day. It feels so good in the night. It feels so good in the night. It feels so good in the night.
I don't know how much of that you heard. It was the first result of my search on the mastodon.art for has audio. And it says un peu bastodon tout de même. Tout de même. And I don't know the source other than a account one om azerti. I just put a cough drop in my mouth because my throat feels dry, but I know it's gonna feel more dry at the end. Let me look at this account, see if they're cute. Meh. If I spoke French, maybe. Oh my gosh. Found something I've been missing for a while. It's pretty sad when I feel like I'm at the end of my day at 9 a.m. Maybe if I rest, I'll get new energy. I feel mentally and physically drained at this point, exhausted. So, just to report my routine, the next thing I'll do is at some point eat and do minimal cleaning, and I'll spend time on YouTube or other internet things to distract me from the pain. And I probably won't reach out to any humans except my boyfriend because I'm exhausted. And humans are very unpredictable. I guess I'll reply to one who reached out to me the other day, but they're one of the most unpredictable people I know. And they seem to want to fix me, and they seem to think that fixing me is yanking me, dragging me into some plans of theirs, and I don't want to do any of that. So I won't contact them. I don't know. I've said it before, but I feel like one whole throat drop, cough drop is too much. I'll look at a book that I probably won't keep, that I've owned for I don't know how long, and probably haven't looked at since I bought. A Guide to Smithsonian Gardens. It's a nice record of, Washington pre-destruction. This is, so, the Hirshhorn Museum and Sculpture Garden, like this is sort of interesting looking at the construction. I don't know where my microphone is. The Hirshhorn Museum boasts 2 open-air galleries where visitors can enjoy sculptures in garden settings. A paved plaza around and underneath the circular museum building, as well as a sunken garden located across Jefferson Drive on the mall. These display areas, which together provide more than 4 acres dedicated to modern art, were essential components of the museum's initial conception in 1966. And that year, this is not my natural voice. I'm just trying out, like, you know, could I have a career as a voiceover artist if I work on a pleasing tone instead of my usual? In 1966, the entrepreneur Joseph H. Hirshhorn, born in 1899, died in 1981, agreed to donate more than 5,500 works of art to the Smithsonian. In his will, he bequeathed an additional 6,000 works, and the museum has steadily acquired many others. Although Hirshhorn had collected thousands of paintings, his collection was internationally renowned for its modern sculptures. These ranged from small studies of life-sized figures and monumental abstract constructions. Round Hill, his home in Greenwich, Connecticut, where I was born, featured dozens of sculptures installed on 22 rolling acres of lawn with a view of the Manhattan skyline. Really? Can you see that from there? I don't remember that from when I was, 1 month old. It was both his wish and the Smithsonian's intention to place many of them outdoors in Washington in a prominent location on the mall. After Hirshhorn made his generous founding gift of art, obstacles from the financial to the political delayed the design and final approval of the museum and its garden. All right, so what year did he? 66. The museum's architect, Gordon Bunshaft of Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill, himself an art collector, was sensitive to the need to devise indoor and outdoor settings that suit sculpture. Try Grounds for Sculpture in New Jersey, in Trenton, New Jersey. Trenton, but not really, but also not Hamilton, I don't think. Just say Trenton. His proposals also had to dovetail with official plans for the mall. The new museum site, a square lot on Independence Avenue. Oh my God, think about, okay, so first we're having a redo of the White House. Think about all of the further degradations we could see in the coming years. Maybe a museum of whiteness. Don't rule it out. God, that would be great, though. That would be quite a document. Oh, I heard he's trying to build an Arc de Triomphe for the 250th birthday. I mean, what? What would I have be done? I'll talk about it someday. I think the pictures are more interesting than the text, so it'll be easier to part with this book. Well, it is, after all, about the gardens of the Smithsonian. I once loved Washington, D.C., and I love maps. Yeah, where is this? Hmm. Mm. National Museum of the American Indian. Occupying one of the National Mall's last available sites, the National Museum of the American Indian opened on September 21st, 2004. From its conception, what is the date of this book? Was it a gift? How do I have this, but I've never looked at it? I suppose I could put it in the possible keep. 2011. I was a different human being back then. I wasn't even living here yet. Mm. The National Museum of the American Indian, from its conception, was meant to be unique among the museums on the mall. Its express purpose was not merely to exhibit artifacts from the past, but additionally to reflect living indigenous cultures of the Americas and to present these distinct perspectives to the nation and the world. I would like to have to see it, and also the African American, but I don't know about my travels in the future. Native peoples were involved in every aspect of the museum's development. Artists, elders, and leaders from nearly 150 native communities from the Arctic to the Galapagos were consulted. Their ideas were collected in a planning document entitled The Way of the People. In this compilation, indigenous peoples from diverse communities in different parts of the Western Hemisphere came together and affirmed a holistic worldview in which all things, people and animals, plants and planets, rocks, rivers, and land, are alive, connected, and interdependent. Kevin Gover, Pawnee, second director of the museum, notes that there is an ancient and deeply held Indian concept that the earth herself is a living, sentient being. I took a clip of a retired admiral in the Nimitz. So it was a story on a house in San Francisco that is abandoned and neglected, but was once the residence of this retired admiral. and before that, Chester Nimitz, who was a big deal in World War II. And for these reasons, the Admiral is hoping to preserve it or have it be a museum. It's in a prime site in San Francisco, overlooking the bay, but it is now underneath a bridge. Like, it's just there's a school here that's in a similar circumstance where development did not care about historical, buildings, which in both cases, in the case of this empty, abandoned, falling apart school and that home, if it was an economic, it's an economic priority choice, so it could be preserved if the government willed it. But anyway, he talked about during his time there, sort of communing with the spirit of Nimitz. Just to be unnecessarily clear, I'm not pro-military, but these are just facts. But anyway, this old man was talking about when he was younger and in his career, working there and consulting a predecessor, and he wanted to share it, that he felt the presence of his deceased predecessor, but he also wanted to, he stopped and he was like, "No, I didn't hear anything, of course," or "it was silly." And so it got me thinking about how, like, there's a Western frame of mind that will sometimes entertain spiritual, supernatural, supernatural spirituality, but then they want you to know that, like, they don't really take it seriously, or they don't really mean it, or it was in their mind, but it's just a short little clip where I thought this is typical of a way of talking, that it's as though he's worried, I guess, that the audience will think he's crazy if he doesn't specify that it's imaginary. And I thought there was something interesting about that, because there's certainly people on this earth who would speak about it differently, or you could just say it and let it be understood that you don't have to, like, nervously interrupt yourself and say, "Oh, no, like, not that it was real," or you could just say, "I consulted his spirit, before bombing. I got justification from the dead." People talk about God that way. They get their justification. Blah de blah. The earth is a living, sentient being. Why not? I don't necessarily believe it, but I think that having that mindset could be helpful and respecting. Douglas Cardinal Blackfoot, an architect from Ottawa, Canada, designed a building for the museum that strongly contrasts with the more linear architecture around it on the mall. Yeah, it's really beautiful, the National Museum of the American Indian. Clad in Kasota stone, a 350 million-year-old limestone from Minnesota, the undulating structure suggests a rock formation with lines as fluid. Something's itchy. Feels like my head hair is in my nose. Lines as fluid as those of a mesa honed by wind and water. The design team members, the architect John Paul Jones, Cherokee Choctaw, ethnobotanist Donna House, Navajo Oneida, and artist Ramona Sakistua, Hopi, helped develop and implement Cardinal's vision, carefully considering the significance of the plantings and the exterior design elements. Building and landscape form an integrated whole, mindful of its position in the universe. The museum's main entrance faces east to greet the morning sun. At this entrance, so I'm curious how that relates to its orientation on the mall. Oh. Is there a rosette? I mean, I'm presuming, yeah, north is straight up. So interestingly, the entrance doesn't face, I mean, I guess the entrance faces the Capitol, whereas normally it would face this way. It faces this way. At this entrance, a vast circular pattern in the paving stones displays the position of planets visible on November 28th, 1989, the day legislation was enacted to create the museum. Really? All the planets were lined up? The planets aligned for the creation of this museum. A spiral lunar, it's interesting though that it was authorized in 89 and it didn't open until 2004. A spiral lunar pattern marks the museum's south entrance. Oh, maybe this is the south entrance. The other one was described as circular, not spiral. It recalls a spiral petroglyph atop Chaco Canyon's Fajada Butte that marks the 19-year cycle between lunar standstills. A spiral lunar pattern at the museum's south entrance recalls a petroglyph of the 19-year cycle between lunar standstills. In the background is a cherished native tree, an American elm. I'm gonna have to lie down because I don't, or maybe I'll twist this way for a while. 4 rocks serve as direction markers. Each comes from a different geological epoch representing stages in Earth's life. The native communities that selected and donated these rocks received in symbolic exchange pieces of the same Kasota limestone used to construct the museum. It's interesting to think of whether or not, I mean, people could walk by and maybe feel nothing, but the fact that every choice is made with intention, I think the world would feel better if that were true, you know, in more widespread places. Wow. These stones are old. Wow. The north marker is from the Tlicho-Deligo community north of Yellowknife in Canada's Northwest Territories. The stone is 4 billion years old, the oldest known exposed rock in the world. The east marker is a 544 million year old quartzite stone from the Cambrian period from Maryland's Monocacy Valley. The 5,000-pound stone was positioned to face the Capitol in hopes of maintaining a positive relationship between Native peoples and the federal government. I think it'd be better just to drop it on it. Oh, terrorism. Humor. The South marker, an ambassador from the Yagan people of Isla Navarino in Chile. So you get it? The north one's from Canada, the east one's from the east coast of the US, the south one's from Chile. Dates from the Cretaceous period and is between 65 and 145 million years old. The west marker, the youngest stone, came from the Keeaumoku lava flow, circa 1662, at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park on the island of Hawaii. Because Hawaiians consider stones to be living beings, this one, named Kanepo, will return to Hawaii after 20 years, at which time another stone will take its place. It's on a 20-year assignment to DC. Poor thing. The 4 billion year old stone says it's Acasta gneiss from the Basins Group era of the Hadean Eon. Like, I don't know any of those terms, so I have not studied 4 billion years old. Huge boulders known as grandfather rocks. Maybe I got this as a gift for somebody. I do that a lot. I travel, I buy a gift, I keep it. I'm a selfish person. I've been giving myself a lot of, I don't know. What if I've been giving myself a break in hopes of healing and reaching a, just all this stuff that may not ever happen, but it's like, I think you know what I'm saying. Grading my life on a curve, so to speak. And when I, once I get past this or that hurdle, then do more or be better. And the hurdles just keep getting bigger and harder to overcome. Sort of. So my ideas of what to do to overcome them become more drastic, and I'll keep you posted on if I make it, but I'll just keep you posted anyway. There was a time when keeping these things was important. But the current hurdles don't permit, they reorient my priorities. And I don't know why, but people have never been my top priority. I haven't been able to survive. I haven't gotten by with a little help from my friends. There are people I like. On the one hand, I don't want to burden them with my intense social not just needs, but deficiencies. And on the other hand, well, it's the same thing. They're just busy, I guess I'm gonna go, but I've sort of enjoyed it. But what I'm talking about in terms of my social deficiencies, I don't run streams to converse. And I don't know if I'll be able to do that someday, but I don't know. For my health, I've already said in this stream that viewers are not my department. I have to separate what I make from, and then just let it go at that after that. Bye-bye. A few days ago, I said I preferred melody to beat in music, and at some point during the stream, it occurred to me that I actually prefer lyrics to both of those. I like wordplay, and it explains sort of why some of my favorite musical artists have been like They Might Be Giants, The Talking Heads, even Negativland. The music is an important thing, but it's the package for the thoughts. That's just how I am. I want the joy of thinking, and the music sort of makes it go down easier, but I'm not a physical body person very often in my life. And I don't know if that's something that I can work on. I mean, there have been times where I give myself over to dance and it's fun, but not that often. And I usually prefer, in fact, this is 100% true, I like to dance to music that I know, where I know the words, where I'm singing along, where I'm like processing a meaning to the song, instead of just like when there's a transition. Usually, I mean, there have been a few times that I've let go, but usually if there's a transition, I want to like identify what the next song is before I commit to dancing to it. I mean, to put it really simply, I don't think I'm joyous enough or happy enough in my, physical body to just enjoy the movement. And it's no coincidence that I have this debilitating physical pain. These are I don't know if it's possible, given my age, for me to learn to be comfortable in my body and move healthfully. And that's also one of the reasons that I kind of want to move to a different culture, to try resetting values, operating system that feels dysfunctional, unhealthy. Bye.